guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm here at my desk, got my laptop ready because I want to make, I guess, sort of like a list of goals for the next 5 years, and I want to sort of talk you through what I envision I'll be doing for the next 5 years of my life and certain goals that I want to achieve along the way, and basically plan when I think I'll be able to do them. So I've got my laptop because I kind of want to make it look pretty and make it into a bit of a grid. And yeah, I guess I'll just be talking you through what I want to achieve and why over the next 5 years. So I suppose the first logical thing to do would talk you through what I see myself doing for the next 5 years. Now, I don't really count years by like what year we're in. I count years by the level of academic study that I'm at, probably because I've been in education too long. So the way I'm looking at it is 2020 to 2021 is my master's year. I'll be studying a master's in medical ethics and law at King's College London, so that's what I'll be doing that year. Then after that, I'm having a year out to study for the GAMSAT, which is the entry test you need to take in order to go to med school for the graduate medicine route. And it's a very, very hard test, and it involves knowing all 3 sciences. You need some math skills there, things that I haven't done in a very long time. So I'm taking a year out in order to study for that and brush up my knowledge. So that's what I'll be doing in 2021 to 2022. Then I will apply to medical school, and obviously you need to apply to medical school a year in advance. So I will then have another year out, but that will be my gap year type thing. And I'm going to go traveling and like want to volunteer and like go and teach English and do loads of things that I want to do. So that's what I'll be doing in 2022 to 2023. Then hopefully if I get into medical school first time, then through 2023 to 2025, I will be in my first and second year of medical school. So that's where I see myself for the next 5 years. I've wrote down all my goals, and I basically am going to read through them and explain to you why they are goals for me and how I think I'm going to achieve them. And then we're going to try and figure out together which year I can put them in. So the first one on the list is to run a marathon. Now, I'm undecided at present whether I want to just be able to run a marathon, i.e. the 26.2 miles, or whether I want to actually run a proper organised marathon. I think at present I want to just leave it at be able to run the distance of a marathon. And if I get to a point where I'm comfortable to run a marathon, then I'll do an organised one like the London Marathon or something and run for charity. But we'll see, because it is quite hard as well to be accepted on to run a marathon. So I will cross the bridge when we come to it. But I really want the goal of to be able to run that level of distance. And at the moment I can run 10k, I'm trying to aim to get to 15k. The most I've ever done is 13.5k, and obviously in kilometres a marathon is like 42k. So we've got a long way to go yet. I'm basically running like 8 miles, that type of distance, which is like a good start. So I do think that, you know, I will be able to run a marathon. It's just a case of like when, and I do think like, you know, most people, it takes them 17 weeks to train for a marathon, which is like, what, like 4 months or something? So I'm trying to figure out in my mind, like, when I'd be able to fit that in. Maybe in my study year, I think. Because I'll have the year off, I'll just be studying for my exam. So I'm going to have more time to really dedicate to that. The second thing on my list is to be able to do the splits. So if you follow me on TikTok, and I can't believe I'm even mentioning or plugging TikTok right now. If you follow me on TikTok, at the start of lockdown, I had this goal that I really wanted to be able to do the splits. And then life got in the way, uni got in the way, and I kind of forgot about it. So this is me at the moment doing the splits, or trying to. And I honestly don't think that I'm that far off. Like, I think that's a realistic goal to be able to do that in the next year. That's my plan at present, that I want to be able to do the splits in the next year. It's just something I've always wanted to do, and I don't even know why. Like, I just think it's cool. And plus, I think flexibility really does help with physical endurance and strength and just general fitness and exercise. So I really want to be able to do that. The third thing on the list is to do all of the 3 peak mountains in the UK. So at the moment, I've just done Snowdon, which is in Wales, and the remaining 2 are Ben Nevis in Scotland and Scafell Pike in England. So I don't want to do like a 3-peak challenge or anything like that. You know, those challenges involve doing all 3 mountains in an allotted time. It's typically like 24 hours. that doesn't interest me at all. I just want to say that I've hiked them, to say that I've hiked them, you know what I mean? Like I've done Snowdon, I loved it. It was such an experience. I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks, where you walk 24 miles around the three mountains in Yorkshire. That was an ordeal. It was traumatic, but it was one of the best experiences of my life that I've ever done. I really loved doing that, and I did it on my own as well, which was just like, don't know why I did it on my own looking back, but it was such a fun experience for me. So I really want to just go and do the rest. I ideally wanted to do that this summer, but obviously Corona. So I'm gonna aim to do that by this time next year. So that goal for me is going to be in my 2020 to 2021 year. I think next summer, once I finish my masters, that's quite a realistic goal. The fourth thing on my list might come as a shock to some people, is that I want to join the army, specifically the Army Reserves, as the role of a CMT, which is a combat medical technician. You know, I've always wanted to join the army. There's quite strong roots of military in my family. I remember when I was like 12, 13, I was debating joining the army then, but I just didn't know what role I wanted to do, and I kind of, I guess, got talked out of it by a lot of people. And the older I get, the more I'm like, no, I'm definitely wanting to join the army. But right now there are a lot of things I want to do in my civilian personal life which are preventing me from joining like the proper army. So I'm thinking halfway house, and I'll join the reserves and then in a few years reevaluate the decision to actually join the army maybe. But yeah, so the role of a CMT, a combat medical technician, is basically like a first responder for the front line. There's elements to the role where you know, you're on the front line and you're giving first aid and things like that. But there's also elements to the role where you're providing education about healthcare, whether in the UK or abroad, and everything about that role appeals to me. It's very up my street, and it's also a really great way for me to get hands-on medical work experience before I apply to medical school. So at the moment I have been training to pass the army entry requirements. So there's at the moment 3 requirements. You need to be able to run 2 kilometers in under 11 minutes 15 seconds for that role, which I can do. And then you need to be able to have a medicine ball, and like you sit down and you push it. You need to be able to sort of throw it 3 meters, which I can do. The thing that's stopping me right now is you need to basically, you do this like bar lift thing to the chest and then down, and you need to, for this role, do 46 kg, and I only weigh about 50 kg, so for me that's heavy and it's quite a lot. And also when you're in the role you need to be carrying quite a lot of kit, and I physically just don't have the upper body strength. So that's what I've been training for really, like throughout lockdown, and hopefully once I have that level of physical fitness I will join. There's 2 intakes a year, so it depends when they are for me to go in, but I want to achieve that in the next year. So that is going to be put in the next year. God, everything's going to be happening in the next year. The next thing on my list is learn how to surf. Basically, I want to reignite that passion. I literally joined surf club this year at university so I could go surfing again, and then Corona happened and I couldn't do any of the trips because they were all cancelled. It's always the way, isn't it? So I want to learn how to surf. In my mind, I'm thinking I would love to do it at King's because they have a surf society there and they go and organise trips a couple of times a year. So in the back of my mind, I do want to do it. But at the same time, I would also love in my gap year to go for like a week or 2. You know, they like surf schools you can go to in like Portugal or like Tenerife or somewhere like that. I think that would be really cool to do. So I'm going to put that in gap year. I want to learn to surf in the gap year. So the next thing on my list is to learn Spanish. So at the moment, I am learning Spanish. Ahora estoy aprendiendo español. But I don't know that much, and my Spanish is like, it's a work in progress. So I would love, and I can't emphasize that enough, to be fluent one day in Spanish. And I think it's quite a realistic goal by the time I'm in my gap year, which is like 2.5, maybe 3 years from now, that I could speak Spanish. Because the goal in my gap year, and this kind of encompasses the next thing on my list, is I want to live in Spain, probably just for like 2 months, 3 months maybe, hopefully get an internship out there or teach English or something like that. I would love that, honestly. So to be able to speak Spanish for that would be like all my cultural dreams coming true, the goal I'm aiming towards by the time I get to that point in my gap year, that I'll be able to speak Spanish. So yeah. That's something I want to do for the gap year. Then another thing on my list which relates to languages is I want to learn sign language. It's something that I've also wanted to do like the majority of my life. It's just finding the time to do it. And I think especially because I want to go and be a doctor, that I want to be able to communicate with as many people as possible in a format that is their language. And I've been in so many situations where, you know, I've been around people who use sign language to communicate, and I just, like, I have this thing in me where I'm like, I just wish I knew more than I do. I know like 3 things in sign language, and I wish I knew more so we could have a full conversation and I could speak to these people, and I just don't, and it kills me inside. So I want to learn sign language, and I ideally want to do that in my study year. So hopefully I can apply to medical school and have that under my belt and go into medical school and already know sign language. That's my plan. The next thing is play the piano. So I can actually play the piano, but I'm very self-taught, and I've forgotten all my music theory that I learned when I was at college, and I did music technology and music theory then. So I want to start from scratch, relearn all my music theory. I want to relearn how to read music and then be able to play the piano. There are certain pieces that I would love to be able to play. Like, I'm not sitting here thinking I want to be the next Mozart. It's just, I obviously write my own music, and I would love to be able to have another instrument to be able to compose and create my own music. And also there are certain classical pieces like Debussy's Clair de Lune and things like that that I would love to be able to play on the piano. It just awakens my soul in a way that I would just love to be able to express it myself rather than just listen to it. So that's my goal, and I'm thinking logically, gap year. Yeah, gap year, I think, to be able to do that. So the next thing on my list follows on from that, and it says finish the album, 10 tracks. So since I learned to play the guitar when I was 16, 17, I have sort of, I guess, been writing songs. I've always written songs before that, but they were mainly either composed on a computer or just like lyrics. So it's only since I really learned how to play the guitar that I've been composing like actual proper songs. And I know I've shared a few on my YouTube channel and on my second channel before, but basically, yeah, I've written in the last 3 or 4 years probably like 40 songs, right? But there's only like 6 that in my heart I'm like, these are good songs, you know? And I really want to basically write a 10-track album, even if it's just for me and I never share it, or I do share it and like I don't have the intentions to like be a singer or like write an album. It's just I want to do it for me, make an album, 10 songs, burn it to a CD and put it on my shelf. Like this, just, I don't know why I have that goal. Like that's something that I want to do. So I think that goal, I would love to be able to do that in my study year. That gives me 2 years to write some more songs, which is plenty of time. And hopefully in, 18 months time, I'll have the album. And maybe in the meantime, I will share some songs off it with you guys. If you want that, let me know in the comments. So the final thing on my list is one of the things that I'm actually working on right now, and it is to write a book. Now, I'm not going to share what I'm writing the book on. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but basically I think that you guys will really appreciate it and like it, hopefully. So at the moment I'm in the planning stages, and I want to research and write the book whilst I am doing my masters, and then hopefully try and get it published or do something with it next summer. So yeah, I want to do that this next year. So basically, as it turns out, I have no goals for medical school other than be in a medical school. But I think that for me, it's quite far in advance. Like that's like 3.5 years in advance. It's so difficult for me to sit here and know what I want to achieve then. And I suppose as well, I know that I'm having like 2 years out of education. That to have 2 years off, like I've never had 2 years off. I want to achieve everything in those 2 years because I know that I'm going to have extra time. So as it stands, just to recap, I suppose, of what I want to do is in 2020 to 2021, I'll be doing my masters at KCL. And in that year, I want to climb all the 3 peaks, which I intend to do, I suppose, like next summer. I want to do the splits throughout the year, join the Army Reserves throughout the year, and write my book. So that's what I want to do in the next 12 months. After that, I'll be on my study year, so studying for the GAMSAT, which is 2021 to 2022. So I want to run a marathon and really get my fitness level to a good place. I want to learn sign language, and I want to finish my album. Then the year after, 2022, 2023, I'll be on my gap year, and then I want to learn how to surf, be be able to speak Spanish pretty fluently. I want to live in Spain and then learn to play the piano. Then for the remainder 2 years, from 2023 to 2025, I want to be in med school, and who knows what my goals will be then, but I am looking forward to seeing whether I achieve these, whether I move them around. And that's the whole point of this video, is like, I don't want to sit here and go, this is definitely what I'm going to do every single year. It's just a guide, it's an idea of things that I would love to be able to achieve, and I'm sure as time progresses and I can tick things off, I'll add things in. I have a bucket list as well, which is a completely separate thing to like this is more goals of things I want to achieve myself, whereas the bucket list is just things that I want to do. And I kind of just want to mention in this video too that like there's a reason why I haven't mentioned YouTube stuff, and it's not because I don't want to do YouTube, it's the fact that YouTube is so like out of my control that there's no way that I can sit here and go, I'd love to have 15, 20, 50k or whatever. Like I would love to have that, and I'd love to be able to write in here and go, by this time I would love to have X amount of subscribers, but like it's ultimately in your control, it's not in my control. I will be posting videos as much as you guys want them and as much as I enjoy them, which hopefully will be the next 5 years, and I can't imagine a reason why I won't post videos for the next 5 years. I plan to be posting videos for the foreseeable future, and we'll just keep posting and keep posting. So I don't want to put like numbers in here of I'd love to have X amount of subscribers, because there's no way for me to control that, and I just don't want to put goals in here that I physically can't have control over, because then it'll be disappointing if I get to a certain time and I haven't achieved it. So I've just sort of stuck to things here that I have in my control and I can physically do myself if I want to and I put my mind to it. So I hope you like this video, and I want to challenge you, well, encourage you, but challenge you to share with me in the comments below what your goals are for the next 5 years, whether you want to break them up into, say, fitness or health goals, whether you want to have travel goals, educational goals. Let me know what you guys are up to and want to be up to for the next 5 years. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you next week. Bye guys.